Hello everybody, welcome back to the guidance of the Modicon M221. In this model, we're going to focus on the basic objects that we have for ladder logic. In this particular video, we're going to see three objects. We have the NOT, the open, and short. So let's go to the presentation. In order to add these three objects, it's very simple. Once we have created the application, we just need to go to the programming and then select this icon for the plus, and then we have these three icons, not, open, and short. In the next part of this presentation, we can see in details what does it mean, each of them. Okay, the not, it just change the logic. If we have a false condition at the beginning, the result will be the true. And the open would open the rank that we have, and the short will create a short in the logic uh, that we have created. Basically, when we are going to make some adjustment in the logic and we want to avoid some contacts on some condition that we have created, I usually use the short so we can avoid that. And then in a new download on the project, I delete the short and then the project will continue. So let's go now into the application so we can see how we can add these three objects. So if we go back here, just open this software. As I mentioned before, we have programming. In here, in the plus icon, we can see not, open, and short. We just directly put this in the middle to make it work. And in this example, I'm going to show you the behavior. Okay, just click on the option that you want to use and then click on the part that you want to introduce this. So in here, this is the application that we were working with. So let me just simulate this so you can see the behavior. Okay, and let's play. In here you can see that this input is in zero, okay, it's in false, and the result after the not is true. And if we force this, you can see here it changed. It's just a not. The open, okay, let's see what happens if I force this, okay. It doesn't change the status of this one because it's just like open the circuit that I have. And for example, this one, the short, it just avoid the result over here. So it doesn't matter what do I have here. Okay, it just jump the logic, and in the case, it will give the true value, okay, to here. Okay, so for example, if I have this M52, just a random number, okay, it just avoid this logic, and I'm going to use this one to activate, okay. This is just a simple way to show you the different behaviors that you can have with these three objects. So what I'm going to do now is to go again to the presentation to make some kind of exercise. So we were working with the conveyor belt, and now we're going to use the open, short, and not block in order to understand how does it works. What I'm going to do now is to create a poll called PRG underscore alarms, and I'm going to configure these 3 bits over here for alarms. And what we're going to do is to create this in our code so we can work on this later. Okay, so the idea is to create this logic, create these variables, and create this POU. So let's go back to the software now. I'm going to disconnect from the controller, delete this because it's just for showing. Okay, good. So here, right click, POU. This will be alarm, so I'm going to put it after the inputs. PRG underscore alarms. So now let me just double check. So what we're going to do is to use the short and not together, and then the alarms, and then the petition for acknowledge. This is something that I usually work with. So short, not this one here, petition. Okay, let's complete this. There we go. What we need to do now is to N101, if I'm not wrong, 1, and this one is N100. Just have a check. N100, yes. So let's try to name those. Okay, so this one is BHC ACK, and this one is alarm 001. Let me just double check the name, alarm 01. And this one will be alarm underscore 02. And let's create some additional alarms. So the idea is to create some alarms so we can use later, okay, when we are going to see the additional function blocks that we have. Let's apply these changes. You can see here, this would be alarm 01. Let's copy this, run, and paste it back. Here and here, what we're gonna do is to use the not, the open, sorry. So far the idea of this is to create a POU that we are going to use later for alarms. And the idea is to leave this space for the real condition that will trigger the alarms that we're going to use later. So if we simulate this part, we're going to see that the alarm 01 or the alarm 02 is not triggered until we replace this in our logic to trigger the alarm. That's why I create logic, I create code, and then when I have already defined the logic inside to create a condition, I replace this logic for the variable that I want to trigger the alarm. That is the idea. Okay, as you can see here, there is nothing to trigger the alarm 01 unless I manually trigger this. Okay, so that is the idea. So you will need to do, in your case, the same. Just follow this example to create and trigger this. So we have seen here the different uses that we can know the uses, how you can work with this not short and open in a code. And this is it. This is very simple how to use this. Click on the element and then click on where you want to put this function block in your code. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I see you on the next one.